Ancient humans 4 million years ago, the struggle for survival through drought and famine. Introduction: a harsh planet and the first steps of humanity. Around 4 million years ago, Earth was not the planet we know today. The world was marked by climatic instability, with cycles of severe drought alternating with short periods of rainfall. The African lowlands, particularly East Africa, the cradle of humanity, constantly shifted between dense forests, open savannas, and barren deserts. It was here that the earliest steps of our ancestors echoed, beginning a long evolutionary journey that would ultimately lead to us. Our survival as modern humans is owed to extraordinary adaptability. But when we look back into the deep past, a fundamental question emerges. How did ancient humans, 4 million years ago, survive devastating droughts and waves of famine when food sources nearly disappeared? To answer this, we must examine several dimensions: the global climate, the African environment, the physiology and behavior of Australopithecus, the first hominins, who laid the foundations of humanity, as well as their survival strategies rooted in instinct, society, and biology. This is not just the story of a single species, but a testimony to the power of evolution. From scarcity and hardship came intelligence, cooperation, and creativity, the traits that define us today. Climate and environment. Cycles of drought and harshness.
During droughts, food sources dropped to the bare minimum. Plants, the primary source of energy, became scarce, and herds of grazing animals migrated away. Ancient humans faced three major challenges. 1. Plants became scarce and difficult to digest. Soft fruits, tender leaves, and nutritious tubers disappeared. What remained were tough roots, bark, and dry seeds, which required powerful jaws and teeth to chew. 2. Large animals were impossible to hunt, small animals hard to catch. With short stature, about 1.2 to 1.4 meters, and crude tools, Australopithecus could not bring down big game. They resorted to catching insects, reptiles, birds, or scavenging carcasses left behind by predators. 3. Water was equally scarce. Beyond food, water supplies dried up. Locating muddy puddles or stored rainwater inside tree hollows became a critical survival skill. Our ancestors, Australopithecus afarensis, best known from the fossil skeleton Lucy, lived between 4 and 3 million years ago. They were fully bipedal, with brains of about 400 to 500 centimeters cubed, only a third the size of modern humans, and lived in small groups. Their strength did not lie in speed or muscle, but in adaptability. They could climb trees to harvest fruits or escape predators. They had strong jaws and thick enamel, enabling them to grind tough and fibrous plants when better food was unavailable. They began using natural tools, such as rocks and sticks, to crack nuts or dig for roots. These traits laid the foundation for survival strategies in times of drought and famine. Survival strategies in times of hunger. When food supplies collapsed, our ancestors deployed a range of strategies to prolong survival. 5.1. Foraging wild plants. They expanded their diet to include fallback foods, roots, bark, dry seeds, wild grasses, and even tree sap. Dental microwear analyses of fossils show that Australopithecus often consumed tough, abrasive foods, evidence that they survived on whatever was left. 5.2. Small-scale hunting and scavenging. Unable to kill large prey, they caught lizards, young birds, insects, or raided nests for eggs. A crucial strategy was scavenging carcasses. After predators finished feeding, early humans used sharp stones or sticks to scrape meat and crack bones for marrow, a nutrient-rich resource unavailable to most other animals.
5.3. Migration and seasonal movement. Early humans did not remain in one spot. They moved with the seasons, following rivers, animal trails, or distant vegetation. Each migration was a life or death gamble, not every group found sustenance. Some scholars argue that these movements created evolutionary pressure, sharpening spatial memory, navigation skills, and group cooperation. Crude tools and their role in survival. Archaeological finds suggest that stone tools were in use at least 3.3 million years ago, slightly later than Australopithecus, but likely rooted in earlier behaviors. Even crude flaked stones provided enormous advantages: cracking bones to extract marrow, digging underground tubers, defending against predators. Tools, however primitive, were the evolutionary lever that allowed our ancestors to exploit food resources otherwise inaccessible. Early social organization, cooperation as survival. A lone hominin could scarcely endure drought and famine. Group living became a survival weapon. Within bands, males could act as lookouts, females could gather, and food was shared. Sharing was not merely altruism, it was evolutionary logic. When one starving individual was saved by group resources, the group's reproductive potential was preserved. This mechanism of social evolution laid the groundwork for cooperation, an enduring hallmark of humanity. Comparison with other predators, why humans endured. Why did early humans not go extinct like many primate species? Several key reasons. Flexible diet, not restricted to plants or meat alone. Capacity for migration, not bound to a single territory. Social cooperation, mutual defense and sharing. Primitive tools, allowed exploitation of resources predators ignored. While many species collapsed when their narrow diets failed, our ancestors were intelligent omnivores, a decisive survival advantage. Evolutionary consequences: brain, intelligence, and social behavior. Drought and famine were not only threats, they were drivers of evolution. The need to solve problems of food and water fueled gradual brain expansion.
Larger brains, necessary for memory, spatial awareness, and tool use. Social intelligence. Cooperation required communication and cohesion, giving rise to proto-language. Cultural behavior. Food sharing, group migration, and leadership roles all laid the foundation of later human societies. Conclusion: drought, hunger, and humanity's path of evolution. 4 million years ago, our ancestors lived in a brutal world. Droughts withered plants, animals migrated, and death lurked constantly. Yet, instead of disappearing like countless other species, they adapted, eating broadly, using tools, migrating, and cooperating. These struggles against hunger and drought forged humanity. They sharpened intelligence, deepened social bonds, and ignited cultural beginnings. In truth, without those harsh crises, humankind might never have evolved into what we are today. If you find it interesting and meaningful, please live share the video and subscribe to the channel to follow the next videos. Sincerely thank you, goodbye, and see you again.